Cameras flashed. Helicopters buzzed overhead. Every tech blog, investor, and influencer worth anything was descending on Silicon Valley's crown jewel, the Vantage launch. Thank you for joining. Feel free to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification. Thank you. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Inside the glass walls of Crosstech headquarters, a countdown glowed in bold red lit above a futuristic stage. 23 minutes and 47 seconds, under 24 hours left before Damien Cross, the 34-year-old billionaire CEO, would change the world again. Damien stood behind tinted glass on the 70th floor, looking down at the sea of press badges and camera crews. Mr. Cross, his assistant MIA said, stepping in. The Japanese investors just landed. They're expecting a dinner tonight. Damien didn't look at her. Feed them sushi. Tell them I'm busy making history. MIA blinked. Yes, sir. His jaw clenched as he scanned the rooftops below. Everything had to be perfect. No leaks. No distractions. No. Crash! A noise echoed behind him. He turned sharply. A wine glass had shattered across the floor of the living area, red droplets like blood across the marble tiles. And there, on her knees, frantically scrubbing with a towel, was Isla. Damien's eyes narrowed. You've been told not to clean this floor during launch week, he growled, stepping toward her. I'm sorry, sir, Isla stammered, her voice quiet. I thought everyone had left this wing. You thought wrong. She kept her eyes down. Always did. Always the quiet one. The help. The maid he barely noticed. Until now. Damien stepped over the broken glass, shoes crunching as he towered over her. Get out. And next time, try not to ruin $6,000 rugs with supermarket wine. Isla nodded quickly, picking up the shards and the towel, muttering another apology. As she slipped out the door, Damien smirked. Why don't you join the launch tomorrow? Huh? Maybe you'll learn what actual class looks like. He didn't wait for a response. He didn't need one. But he didn't notice the way she paused, just for a second, as if considering something, or calculating it. The staff elevator groaned as it descended. Isla stood inside, clutching her cleaning supplies against her chest-like armor. He's just stressed, whispered Anna, the cook, over her earpiece. Don't take it personal. Meja. I never do, Isla replied, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. In the lower levels, where no spotlights reached, Crosstech's mansion-like penthouse felt like another world. Hey, staff buzz around like ghosts, seen but never remembered. Isla, though, she wasn't just unseen. She wanted to be unseen, at least for now. Her small apartment, hidden behind the staff dorms, was more like a museum than a home. Books on coding, a prototype soldering kit, and faded tech magazines from 10 years ago lined the walls. In the center sat an old, locked box, unmarked, heavy, untouched. She sat on her bed, opened her phone, and began typing. Vantage launch livestream, full schedule, guest list. Her eyes scanned the names, the seats, the layout, and then she stopped. Her name was not there, of course, but that wasn't what made her fingers tremble. She opened a drawer, pulled out a faded photo. A man stood in it, younger, bearded, and cocky. Damien Cross, 10 years ago, standing beside a different man. Her father. The caption on the back, Prototype 3, Isadora approved. She exhaled slowly. Time's almost up, Damien. Morning meeting, Damien. MIA said the next day. Boardroom. He didn't answer. He stood near the same broken rug Isla had cleaned, a chilled whiskey in hand even though it was 10:02 a.m. She didn't even apologize properly, he muttered. Who? The maid. The one with the weird eyes. What's her name? MIA blinked. Isla. Sure. I want her at the launch tomorrow. Excuse me. He turned to face her. Invite her. Full access pass. Let her see what she could never be. You want your maid at the biggest tech event of the year. Exactly. Let her feel out of place. Let her remember where she stands. MIA opened her mouth. Close it. She'd seen Damien do a lot of things, but this felt different. Very well, she said. Downstairs, Isla was polishing the elevators when a courier approached her. "For you," he said, holding out a sealed black envelope with gold wax. She opened it with cautious fingers. The card inside read, VIP access, Crosstech Vantage launch. Event begins at 7 p.m. Formal attire required. No plus ones. She stared at it for a long time, and then she smiled, not bitterly, but dangerously. The next 24 hours moved like a blur. Damien rehearsed his speech in front of mirrors and lighting technicians. Influencers practiced poses for red carpet photos. And Isla? She was miles away, in a different world. A quiet boutique in an alley off Valencia Street. The kind of place with no signage, just a black velvet curtain and a buzzer. The woman inside was old, sharp-eyed, and silent. "Do you have it?" Isla asked. The woman didn't speak. She simply pointed to a box on a glass pedestal. Inside, a sapphire gown with silver embroidery that shimmered like neural networks. But the true jewel was a necklace, a handcrafted piece of tech glass, forged by a designer who used to make hardware before fashion. It wasn't just a dress. It was a weapon. "Fits perfectly," the woman said coldly as Isla stepped out of the fitting room. "You sure you want to waste this on Cross?" "I'm not wasting it," Isla replied. "I'm reclaiming something." The dress was paid for in cash, and she left with no receipt, no trace, just a small smirk on her lips. The paparazzi's jaws collectively dropped when the black town car pulled up. Out stepped Isla. Not the maid, not the quiet girl from the shadows, but a storm in sapphire silk. Her hair was swept back into a sleek twist, her eyes lined with obsidian shadow, and her necklace shimmered like a data stream frozen in crystal. Phones lifted. Cameras clicked. One TikTok caption would later say, "When the maid arrives looking richer than the CEO." Video hits 8M views in under 5 hours. Security didn't even question her as she walked through the main doors. The hallway parted like the Red Sea. People stared. Whispers flew. Damien was mid-laugh with an investor when he saw her. His words died in his throat. She wasn't supposed to. She wasn't supposed to look like. That necklace. That dress. He stood there, blinking, unsure whether to run or confront her. Isla met his eyes, and smiled like a queen reclaiming her throne. The murmurs started as ripples. Then they turned to waves. People didn't just notice Isla. They couldn't take their eyes off her. She stood by the vertical garden wall, sipping champagne like a duchess, as if she belonged to a realm far above anyone else in the room. "Wait, she's with Damien, right?" whispered an investor in a tight gray suit. "No way," said his date. "She's not on any list. I'd know." They weren't alone. Guests whispered across the room, looking at Isla like she materialized out of thin air. Someone snapped a photo. Within 5 minutes, it hit Twitter with a caption. "Who is she? She's not listed, but she walked in like she owned the place. #cross-launch #mystery guest." Upstairs, Damien stood with a crystal tumbler in hand, his knuckles whitening around the glass. His eyes hadn't left Isla since she arrived. His assistant MIA joined him, holding her tablet like a shield. "You okay?" she asked cautiously. "She's not supposed to be here," Damien muttered, eyes locked downward. "She's supposed to be cleaning floors." "Well, she's not," MIA said. He looked at her sharply. "I'm aware." She hesitated, scrolling through her tablet. "Want me to run her through facial recognition?" Damien shook his head. "No, that'll only confirm what I already know." He toned, setting his glass down, his jaw tense. "She's not just here to make an entrance." MIA raised an eyebrow. "Then why is she here?" Damien didn't answer. He couldn't, because deep down, he already knew the answer. The countdown hit 2 o'clock. The massive curved screen above the stage turned bright white, displaying. The future begins in 120 seconds. Guests began moving toward their seats. Phones were out. Live stream chats blew up in real time. At Quantum Talks, "What's with that mystery woman?" Whole vibe changed after she walked in. Eyes. At Investor Tea, CEO looking sick. Eyes, is she his ex? His enemy? Both. #mystery guest #VNTGigate #launch leak. Damien approached Isla at the champagne table. From afar, it looked like a charming chat. But up close, tension wrapped the air like a wire. "I'm going to ask you, once, to leave," Damien said under his breath, smiling for the cameras. "Why would I leave my own product launch?" Isla replied, raising her glass. He clenched his jaw. "You have no claim, no contract, just stories." "I have more than stories, Damien. I have data, dates, emails, code, witnesses. You can't bury it this time." His smile faltered. "You do this here, now, you destroy my company." She leaned in. "You destroyed my family. This is just balance." His eyes darted. "What do you want?" Her gaze hardened. "I want the truth. Public, raw, unfiltered. I want my father's name to be remembered for building something real, not for trusting a liar." He tried to speak, but she stepped back, raising her glass high in a silent toast. The camera caught it. Online, screenshots spread like wildfire. "Who is she?" #toast of truth. Behind them, the screen lit up. The countdown hit 5 seconds. The lights dimmed. Damien stepped onto the stage, greeted by polite applause and a blinding wall of lights. He adjusted his collar. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, his voice amplified across the auditorium and millions of screens worldwide, "welcome to the future." Cameras zoomed in. He smiled. "This is not just another product launch. It's a legacy, a leap forward." But his voice trembled. Backstage, MIA was pacing, phone in hand, mouth slightly open as she read incoming messages. "So," she whispered under her breath. On the screen, Damien continued, "When I started this company, I was just a kid with a dream." The screen behind him glitched. A flicker, then again. Suddenly, the giant projection behind him cut out and was replaced by an old photo. A young Damien, beside a girl with braided hair. Caption, "Prototype 3, Isadora approved." Gasps filled the room. Isla remained in her seat, still, calm. Then the screen changed again. An email thread, a code log, metadata, timelines, her initials on early Vantage builds. Then her father's face. A headline, "LATAM Angel investigates after cross-tech scandal." The crowd went silent. Damien froze. "What is this? Cut the feed," he barked. But the lights didn't dim. They got brighter. Isla rose from her seat, took the steps to the stage, microphone in hand. "You've heard his version," she said. "Now, let me show you the truth." Silence reigned over the auditorium like a dropped curtain. The Vantage launch had stopped cold. On stage, Isla stood beside Damien, holding the microphone like it was a scalpel. Behind her, the screen looped the damning evidence. Source code, emails, timestamp videos, early schematics signed IV. The crowd didn't blink. "Who is she?" Someone whispered loudly in the second row. Isla raised her voice. Calm, precise. "I am the original architect of Vantage's core recognition model. My family funded this company when no one else would. We were erased when we became inconvenient." Gasps. Phones up. The crowd filmed everything. Damien leaned toward her, trying to pull the MIC back. "Stop this. You're embarrassing yourself." "No," she said. "I'm correcting the record." Just then, a voice rang out from crowd. "I'll fund whatever you're building next," said Leif Han, a Scandinavian billionaire known for backing disruptive startups. He stood, clapping slowly. "What you did here tonight, brave, and long overdue." Another voice joined. "So will I," said Sandra Chu, former CTO of ByteLift, "and I'll match his offer." Damien's face drained of color. His launch was collapsing in real time. Isla turned to the audience, lips curled slightly. "I'm not here for your money." "But you could be," Leif said. "The world's watching. Take the reins." The applause began, slow, building. A chant started. "Isla! Isla!" Behind her, Damien whispered, "If you walk off that stage, you'll never work again." She turned, cool fire in her eyes. "I was your maid, Damien. Remember? You already made that call. This time, I'm making mine." She stepped down. The room erupted. "Dash! Backstage was chaos. Security scrambled. Journalists swarmed. But Isla walked like a blade through fog. MIA ran to catch up. Wait! Wait! That was unreal. Isla glanced at her, surprised. Yes, and no. I always wondered who you really were. Now you know. MIA hesitated. What happens now? I wait, Isla said. The flood is coming. Her phone buzzed. Anonymous message. They are trying to shut the stream down. 40K people watching live. Don't stop. Isla turned to Gerard Vance, who met her by the green room entrance. You held back, didn't you? He asked. She nodded. Just enough. He smirked. Good. Keep some bullets for the hearing. What hearing? She asked. He pulled out a USB. This contains internal memos from Damien's R&D director. Hidden abuse. Misuse of startup funds. It's enough to sink him. Isla blinked. Why are you giving this to me? Because I believed in you before. I just didn't fight hard enough when it mattered. She took the USB. Redemption suits you, she said. A stagehand approached. Miss Velasquez, the press would like a comment. And your photo. For the front page. She smiled. Let them wait. I'm not done planting seeds yet. The following morning, Crosstech's emergency board meeting convened in a panic. Everyone was there. Shareholders, lawyers, Damien, and one unexpected guest. Isla. She stepped into the glass boardroom like a storm in heels. Damien stood at the head of the table. This is private. Gerard Vance interrupted. The board has invited her. She sat directly across from Damien. The table stretched between them like a battlefield. The board chair cleared her throat. Miss Velasquez, you have the floor. Isla didn't hesitate. You all backed Crosstech under the belief that Damien Cross built it. But the truth is, he took a foundation he didn't create, silenced its origin, and stole its legacy. She dropped a manila folder on the table. Inside, you'll find authenticated emails, contracts, prototype code from 2013 to 2014, and a recording of an internal call where Damien orders a removal of my name from patent record. Damien scoffed. This is insane. Is it? She said, voice sharp, because I have your voice saying it. A board member opened the file, played the audio. We scrub everything before beta. If Isadora's name is on it, we kill the release. Understood. Silence. Another member whispered, We're so screwed. Damien laughed nervously. This is a witch hunt. Witches only rise when you try to burn them, Isla said. The chairwoman looked at Isla. What do you want? She stood slowly. My name, my credit, my stake, and the truth made public. Gerard added, and if we refuse... Isla smiled. Then I'll live stream the full deposition. Uncut. Your call. Damien sat alone in his private penthouse, surrounded by empty wine bottles and flickering screens. Each one showed a different headline. Maid turned founder, the real mind behind Crosstech's empire. Isla Velasquez reclaims her legacy in viral takedown. Damien Cross faces legal action as evidence surfaces. He hurled a glass across the room. It shattered against the marble. MIA entered quietly. You're being subpoenaed. He didn't respond. They want you on record about the IP theft, the cover-up, and... I know what they want. MIA flinched. He paced, breathing heavy. She played me. This was all a setup, from the Maid application to the spilled wine. MIA raised an eyebrow. Spilled wine. He stopped. She made me invite her. She wanted to be humiliated so she could strike back. It was a long con. MIA stepped forward. She didn't need to trap you, Damien. You already wrote the story. She just turned the lights on. He collapsed into a chair. MIA added softly, She's starting a new company, backed by everyone you boned. He looked up. She won't win. She already did. Isla stood in the quiet rooftop greenhouse of the Crosstech building, the place she used to clean at 6 a.m., scrubbing soil off planters no one noticed. Now, it was hers. She placed a small camera on the bench. Hit record. Behind her, Leaf Han and Sandra Chu entered. You ready to launch? Sandra asked. Isla nodded. Everything's filed. We're calling it Vedantia Technologies. Leaf grinned. A poetic name. Means greening again, right? Exactly, Isla said. Growth after ruin. She walked to the far end of the greenhouse and removed a loose panel on the wall. Behind it, an old flash drive, hidden years ago. I left this before Damien fired the R&D team in 2016. It's a clone of the core engine he claimed he rebuilt. She plugged it into her laptop. A hologram lit up. Vantage. Lines of code streamed across the screen. Isla's code. Her watermark. She opened her video recording app. My name is Isadora Velasquez, she said to the camera, voice steady. And this is a story of how I became a maid to take back my invention. She paused. And how I built a new empire from the ground up. She clicked save and uploaded it to every major tech news outlet in the world. 2 days later, the tech world stood still. Cross-Tech's stock nosedived. Isla's video had racked up 91 million views across platforms. Its title was simple but devastating. How I Built the AI He Stole, the Maid Behind Vantage. The opening line alone became legendary. You don't need to wear a suit to be a founder. Sometimes, all you need is a broom, a memory stick, and the truth. Chart with upward trend #Maid to Mogul. Chart with upward trend #Justice for Isadora. Chart with upward trend #Crosscheck Damien. The viral pressure was so overwhelming that congressional panels began asking questions about AI ownership and IP theft. But nothing hit harder than the lawsuit, filed by Velasquez Legal Trust versus Damien Cross and Crosstech Incorporated. Damages sought $412 million. Charges: intellectual property theft, fraud, corporate suppression, and slander. At a press conference, Isla stood in a sleek white suit. I don't just want financial justice, she said to a room packed with cameras. I want young engineers, especially women of color, to know, even when the system erases you, you can redraw the blueprint. Reporters shouted questions. Miss Velasquez, what would winning this lawsuit mean to you? She smiled slightly. Redemption, and a cleaner future. Isla stepped out of the courtroom the next morning and was swarmed by fans. Young coders, single mothers, first-gen college students. One girl in a denim jacket ran up to her, breathless. You're why I stayed in my robotics class, she said, eyes shining. They said I wouldn't make it. You proved them wrong. Isla crouched beside her. Always take up space, sweetheart, even if they pretend not to see you. Upstairs, Damien watched from a window, suit rumpled, eyes hollow. Inside his office, he was forced to sign a release giving Isla 50% ownership of Vantage's patent rights. You don't have to gloat, he muttered, sliding the papers over. I'm not gloating, Isla replied. I'm grieving. He paused. For what? For the girl who believed in you. He scoffed. Don't pretend you were ever innocent. I'm not, she said, eyes sharp, but I didn't lie to Rise. You did. Security walked her out, but they held the door open for her like royalty. From Maid to Mogul, no title change needed. 3 months later, the annual AI Global Summit opened in San Francisco. This year's theme, Building Beyond Bias. A sleek black car pulled up. Cameras flashed. Out stepped Isla in a silver cape dress that mirrored neural net pathways. Whispers spread. Is that her? She's a keynote. As she walked through the entrance, several men who once ignored her or mocked her cleaning uniform stood awkwardly. She passed by one of Damien's former board members. Miss Velasquez, he said, extending a hand nervously. She looked down at it, then up. Still afraid of women with brooms, she said softly, then walked on. Inside, she took the stage. I used to scrub the floors of the buildings where I now speak, she began. Not because I lacked talent, but because the world couldn't recognize talent without a title. Applause rose like thunder. In every shadowed hallway, there's someone building brilliance with no spotlight. Today, we turn the lights on. The crowd rose to its feet. Tez, chants, an ovation that lasted almost a minute. Somewhere in the back, Someone filmed and whispered, "That's how you change the world." 6 months later, Issa returned to the rooftop garden where her story had restarted. The plant she once tended for others now bloomed under her name. The broken sprinkler that started everything? Replaced. She knelt by the lavender and began trimming it carefully. "Miss Velasquez," said a voice behind her. It was MIA, holding a folder. "Press want to do a documentary. Tell them I'll think about it." Also, MIA added, "Damien left the country, sold his shares. No interviews since the trial." Isla nodded, focused on the plant in front of her. "I wish him peace," she said quietly. And reflection. "You're not angry." "I was," she admitted. "But you can't water hate and expect flowers." MIA smiled. "That's poetic." "No," Isla said, standing and brushing dirt from her knees. "It's engineering. What you grow is based on what you feed." The sun warmed her face. She looked out over the skyline. A new kind of kingdom, one she built root by root. In a high-rise office, a new logo was unveiled. Vedantia Technologies. AI for growth. AI for good. A crowd cheered. Investors signed deals. Young engineers lined up to apply. Inside the boardroom, Isla stood at the head of the table. She didn't sit in Damien's old chair. She replaced it. Round table. No head. Everyone equal. She looked around at her team, many of them former interns, overlooked geniuses, and women who never got the seat they deserved. "No one here has to prove their worth by staying quiet," Isla said. "We speak. We build. We grow." Her CTO leaned over. "We've already signed 40 global clients, and MIT just invited you to headline their ethics lecture." She smiled, but didn't gloat. Across the room, a plaque sat on a shelf. It read, "For every woman they raise, we'll build a legacy louder than silence." Later that night, Isla sat in the rooftop garden again. Alone, peaceful, she pulled out the old necklace, held it in the light. "Thank you, Papa," she whispered. "We made it." And for the first time in years, she wept, not from pain, but from power.